Well, welcome, racing fans, to Motorsports Radio, and this is the weekend edition. Yes, it's the weekend. It's here. A crazy NASCAR weekend at Darlington and Ontario last weekend. Truex Jr. winning the Southern 500. Elliott Sadler winning the Help a Hero 200, which was last weekend's Xfinity Series race, and of course John Hunter Nemechek winning that crazy winning the Silverado 250 with that crazy finish up in Canada. Scott Dixon wins the IndyCar's Indy Grand Prix at the Glen, and Nico Rosenberg wins Formula One's Italian Grand Prix. Today's show, driver standings, racing news, and this weekend scheduled. Just NASCAR this weekend, only 2 races, Xfinity Series on Friday evening, and then Saturday evening, Sprint Cup Series racing, and of course the last race before the chase. Now, we're also going to talk about the history of the number 78. Now this is the last weekend before the chase for Sprint Cup Series. So there's still 2 weeks left for the Xfinity Series and the trucks. But again, and we're going to get into it as we move along. Now, it's Chicagoland, New Hampshire, and Dover. Now, here it is. So, Richmond International Raceway, this upcoming weekend, the Sprint Cup Series, Xfinity Series. Now, it's Chicagoland, New Hampshire, and Dover. That's going to be the round of 16 for the Sprint Cup Series. So, round of 16, round of 12, round of 8, and round of 4. Now, I do have a printable. I got to get the exact dates, but not this weekend, but next weekend is going to be the first race of the chase for the Sprint Cup Series. Now, for the Xfinity Series, the chase starts in Kentucky, Dover, and Charlotte. Okay, so it's for Xfinity Series, we have a round of 12, a round of 8, and a round of 4. And the trucks, and of course Xfinity Series and trucks first deal with the chase, which is, I think, is going to be very interesting. But the trucks have a round of 8, round of 6, and the round of 4. And of course, the round of 4 is the final race for each series. So it's going to be very interesting as we get into it. So this weekend, we're going to be in for some exciting racing as some drivers advance to the chase and some drivers get cut. So I think there's going to be some tempers flaring on this weekend. So we'll have to keep a lookout for that. And I think we're going to have some fun nighttime racing, some short track racing from Richmond this weekend. So let's take a look at the driver standings right now. And we'll also take a look at the chase as well. Here's the driver standing. Kevin Harvick in first place, for the Sprint Cup Series. We have Keselowski in second, Logano third, Carl Edwards sitting in fourth, and in fifth place it's Denny Hamlin. Now from 6th through 10th we have Kurt Busch in 6th, Kyle Busch in 7th, Truex Jr. sitting in 8th place, 9th is Matt Kenseth, Chase Elliott sits in 10th place. So now we get into 11th through 15th place. We have Jimmy Johnson, Austin Dillon, Jamie McMurray, Ryan Newman, Kyle Larson. And then from 16th through 20th, Casey Kane, Ryan Blaney, AJ Allmendinger, Trevor Bayne, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 21st through 25th, it's Paul Menard, Greg Biffle, Danica Patrick, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Eric Almirola. Now, Dale Jr., as we all know, drives the 88 car. Jeff Gordon's coming back next week, and it's going to split. It's going to be split for the next, for the remainder of the season. It's going to be split between Jeff Gordon and Alex Bowman in the 88 car. So that should be interesting right there. Now, if we take a look at the chase grid, okay, the round of 16, the last guy on in the chase right now is Jamie McMurray. He's sitting in the 16th spot right now in the round of 16. And I think Ryan Newman was right behind him, but the 31 team, got docked 15 points. We'll get to that in a moment. They got penalized this weekend. But to take a look at the chase standings right now, and on the chase grid for the round of 16, we got Bert Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick. Okay, then it's Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin, Truex Jr., Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart, Chris Buescher, Chase Elliott, Austin Dillon, and Jamie McMurray. Now, for the driver standings in the Xfinity Series, if we take a look at the Xfinity Series, here's the driver standings. Top 10, Elliott Sadler, Daniel Suarez, Justin Allgaier, Ty Dillon, Brandon Golan, Eric Jones, Brennan Poole, Brandon Jones, Darrell Wells Jr., and then in 10th place, it's Ryan Reed with 596 points. 11th through 15th, it's Blake Koch, Ryan Siege, Dakota Armstrong, Jeremy Clemens, and Ross Chastain. 16th through 20th, it's J.J. Yeley, Ryan Preece, Garrett Smithley, Ray Black Jr., and B.J. McLeod. 21st through 25th, it's Joey Gase, Jeb Burton, Justin Marks, David Starr, and Mario Jocelyn. There's also the manufacturer standings, but I think we can skip that for this week. Toyota's still in first place in all three series. But now if we take a look at the chase grid, the round of 12 right now, how that stands right now for the Xfinity Series is Eric Jones, Elliott Sadler, Daniel Suarez, Justin Allgaier, Ty Dillon, Brandon Golan, Brandon Poole, Brandon Jones, Darrell Wells Jr., Ryan Reed, Blake Koch, and Ryan Siege sitting in the number 12 spot. Now, as we take a look now at the Camping World Truck Series, and I'm kind of interested to see how the Camping World Truck Series pans out with this new format. Now, okay, so here's the Camping World Truck Series. Straight driver standings. Top 10, it's William Byron, Daniel Hemrick second, Johnny Sauter third, Matt Crafton fourth, and then fifth, Timothy Peters. 6th through 10th, Ben Kennedy, Christopher Bell, John Hunt and Nemechek, Cole Custer, and Cameron Haley. Then from 11th through 15th, it's Tyler Reddick, Ben Rhodes, Spencer Gallagher, Rigo Abreu, and Austin Wayne Self. 16th through 20th, Tyler Young, John West Townley, Travis Voppel, Jordan Anderson, Ryan Truex. And then 21st through 25th, it's Parker Kilgerman, Brandon Brown, Brent Moffitt, Tommy Joe Martins, and Grant Enfinger. Taking a look at the chase grid for the trucks, and now the trucks start with the round of 8. So the 8 drivers right now in the round of 8. Now, this isn't official yet. Now, some guys are getting in on wins, and some guys are getting in on points. So some guys can still get knocked out. If they have a win in the regular season, they're in there. Those hanging on for points are the ones that are that can get knocked out. But right now they have William Byron, Matt Crafton, John Hunter Nemechek, Johnny Sauter, Ben Kennedy, Christopher Bell, Daniel Hemrick, and Timothy Peters. Now, what made the truck race in Canada crazy was that John Hunter Nemechek already has a win this season. In fact, John Hunter Nemechek has 2 wins this season. That's counting the one from last week. Cole Custer has 0. So Cole Custer, if he would have gotten that win at the Canadian Motorsports Park last weekend, Cole Custer would be on this grid. So very intense end to the truck race on Sunday, and I think that made a lot of news. No one got any penalties for that. There was a little scuffle after the race, but nothing too crazy. So there we go. Now, taking a look at the Sprint Cup Series. Let's see here. You want to see how many wins the drivers got so far? Kevin Harvick right now has 2 wins. Bert Kessler has 4. Joey Logano with 1 win, which was what race was that? He did win an All-Star race, but that doesn't count. I forget which one he won. But now Carl Edwards has 2 wins. Denny Hamlin has 2. Kurt Busch has 1. Kyle Busch has 4. Remember Kyle Busch? He made headlines at the beginning of this season. Truex Jr. and Matt Kenseth both have 2 wins so far this year. Chase Elliott has 0, so he's holding on for points too. So now, by this time next week, we will know who is definitely in the chase and who is not. And I think this is going to be the fun. Some old-time NASCAR fans don't like new format. Some do. So it'll be very interesting, and then we're going to have some fun racing coming up in the next as we go on through the end of the season. So now the history of the number 78, as we all know, we've been doing this thing called the history of the numbers, just to have a little fun. And as we all know, Truex Jr., who drives the 78 Toyota, Furniture Road Toyota, won Sunday's Southern 500. But the question is, who else drove the number 78? Source, driveraverages.com, and we go back to 19 1950, the first year for the 78 in the NASCAR Grand National Series. UL Weddle, Bob Moore, and Richard Cummings. Now, the first win for the 78 car was 1953 driver Dick Passwater with 1 win. Then Jen Pascal wins 3 in 1995. And then a big drought. The next win after that wouldn't come until 2011, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series driver Reagan Smith. And after that, the next win, 2015, Martin Truex Jr. winning Pocono in 2015. And 2 wins this year, Sunday at Darlington and back in May at Charlotte. So both good races. Some other drivers of the 78, we had Joe Nemechek, just Joe, no, not Joe Hunter, Joe Nemechek, Kenny Wallace, Jerry Robertson, okay, Gary Bardsberry, Randy McDonald, Jay Hitchcock, Jim Robinson, and Richard Brickhouse. Some number 78 stats, the 78 number, the 78 car raced in 576 races with 8 wins, 50 top 5s, 119 top 10s, 274 top 20s, and 8 poles. Raced in a total of 128,448 laps, and total laps led 2,414. Car makes for the 78, Chevrolet, Oldsmobile, Ford, Dodge, Toyota, Plymouth, Pontiac, Lincoln, Buick, and Studebaker. And that is Motorsports Radio's history of the numbers, the history of the 78. So, some exciting news, the Motorsports Radio penalty update. Alright, so here we go. And we got some other stuff too. Power rankings. Oh, okay. So, the number 30, now this is kind of weird. I kind of thought for sure that Tony Stewart was going to get some penalty for getting into the 44 car on Sunday. But the 14 team did get penalized, but actually I think they received written warnings, actually. I got it written down here. But we'll get right into it. The 31 and the 42 teams got penalties post Darlington at the Southern 500. Richard Childress Racing's number 31 team received a P3 penalty. The number 31 Chevrolet failed its post-race laser inspection after Sunday's race. The 31 team was deducted 15 driver points and 15 owner points. And crew chief Luke Lambert was fined $25,000. Now, Ryan Newman was 7 points behind Jamie McMurray. Okay, as mentioned, Jamie McMurray, the last guy on the grid. Ryan Newman has now got a 22-point deficit. Ryan Newman finished Sunday's race in 8th. Chip Ganassi Racing's number 42 team got a P2 penalty for failing post-race inspection, laser inspection. 42 Kyle Larson. The 42 team was docked 15 points, 15 driver points, and 15 owner points. And crew chief Chad Johnston was fined $22,500. Kyle Larson finished in 3rd. Some others. Right. Oh yeah, the 14 got a written warning for failing pre-race laser inspection. So that's the only thing for the 14. And if you saw that race, when you saw that 14 car get into the 44, some of them out there might have been thinking, like, boy, that looks a little dirty. That's all I kind of thought when I saw it. Like, that's kind of dirty right there. But I guess, it wasn't intentional. Although they did interview Tony Stewart after his engine expired. NBC, they interviewed Tony Stewart, and they asked him what happened with the 44, and he just said he wrecked. So, there you go. Now, the 21 team, driver Ryan Blaney, the 21 was, Ryan Blaney himself, the driver of the 21, was given a P1 penalty and fined $1,000 for driving with no gloves. Not for the entire race, just for a little bit of it. And some other NASCAR Sprint Cup teams received written warnings. The number 2 and the number 19 teams, number 2 driven by Bart Keselowski, 19 Carl Edwards. The 2 and 19 teams both received written warnings for failing pre-race laser inspection 3 times. And then the 22 and 32 teams got written warnings for failing pre-race laser inspection 2 times.